Hello, hello, and welcome back to episode 4 of. Wait, 4 or 5? Damn it, already forgot. Uh,
A number.
a number. Yes. Jesus, I'm getting stuck in the single digits. This is. Oh, welcome back. uh, it is great to see everyone again and great to be back here
Do you have
playing a playing a game with you all. This week, Blinks is not going to be here due to personal uh, things that he is dealing with at the moment. So it will just be Leanna and Estelle, played by Maru and Zoldan, today. Last time, we had an interesting trip with the group going with Uncle Moss to try and figure out what was happening with the bird and the music and the uh, bad past burgeoning back up. And after finding what they thought was the body of Estelle's old friend, it turned out to be the disguised body of Loxodon. And as they took it upon themselves to try and investigate and figure out what is actually happening behind the scenes, they were followed, not so subtly, by an old compatriot of Estelle's, that being Luan, the half elf. Um, the encounter went not so great. Paseth resorting to a little bit of physical confrontation. Uh, Although, to be fair to him, there was something that seemed off that he seemed to catch that Estelle and Leanna did not. But Luan ended up sneaking away, and Estelle, Leanna, and Paseth found themselves investigating the stream where Laurel said that she was assaulted by something. As they investigated, Estelle found some mysterious white rocks over by where Laurel had been assaulted. But Paseth found something different. Paseth found a way home. And using his knowledge of the Fae, he ended up entering a mysterious and dark region. In this region, he was able to find the morality dissolver, the poison used on Leanna's father and presumably on Laurel. But just before he left, there was something that followed close behind. And while it didn't exit the portal with Paseth, that terrible feeling of it getting so very close was daunting. Now currently working on a project his own, Estelle and Leanna are left to their own devices. So, gang, what are we doing?
Leanna was following Estelle.
Estelle was going to uh go to Uncle Moss just to fill on him on the things that happened in the past 10 minutes, which is a lot for 10 minutes. Uh and once that happens, just leave Paseth to whatever he's doing and uh, see whether or not uh, Sho kept true to his word and they're locked out.
So, as you head back to Shuruk Natal, the thing that you notice immediately, just beyond the tree line and just focusing your eyes over there, not even 60 feet away from the stream, there is a very long line of Loxodon that appear to be entering single file into the homestead.
Oh, that's understandable.
Estelle just kind of nods to give indication that she heard and is going to be scanning for Uncle Moss if he's out here or maybe inside already. Who knows?
As you approach closer, it does appear that Uncle Moss must have been the first one in. So, my question to you is, are you going to go to the back of the line, or are you trying to get in, budging in front?
Leanna's going to turn to Estelle and ask, is there a back entrance or a side entrance or something? It doesn't feel right to push in front of them, but we do need to get in.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. And uh, is there one Estelle would know of?
The only other entrance to Shiraknatal that you would know of would be the observatory.
The only other way in is the observatory, and Show got rid of it. I guess
But that doesn't mean that where it was isn't still there.
just about what I was, just what I was about to recommend. All right, well, let's go check that out, see if
Yeah.
there's anything.
And even if it's a bust, this line will be down by the time we get back, and we won't feel bad about forcing our way through grieving people.
Exactly.
Okay. So I um you go to the location where the observation uh basically porthole was, and uh the locations here are a bit wonky because Shrugnatau is not just a physical structure, it is a magical one. So the dimensions aren't aligned in the mundane way. So the entrance to Shrugnatau itself is on the top of the hill. So basically, what you're doing, Estelle, is you're, to put it the most simple way I can, is summoning the porthole, if you will, as it requires the magic to be opened because you wouldn't want random people to just be walking over the hill and then all of a sudden falling through.
Would be funny, though.
So, as Estelle kind of muddies these words in Druidic and allows for this portal to be opened, there is a sound of rushing water, and looking down in it, it looks like a about 5x5 hole of just water going downward, rushing quickly.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, at the bottom, I can just dry us both off like I did when the rain.
Yep. just don't like getting wet if I don't have to.
Mhm. Would you
You
like to
both.
go first?
Yeah, if anything goes wrong with me, you can get me out of it a lot easier than I can get you out of it.
Understandable.
Right.
Can I get? You want? No, never mind. So Leanna's going first.
Uh, Before she goes, she's going to want to guidance and investigate the hole, see if she can see anything weird about it, see if there's any like sign of what the observatory was, if anything about that's still there, and or just sanity checking to see how stupid dangerous this may be.
Okay. So you want to roll investigation?
Yes, with guidance.
Okie dokie. So I will. Is 14. So that's a total of 15. Um, as how mean do I want to be with this? Um, as you're looking around the porthole and observing the um, structure, it it appears rigid. It appears sustainable. It doesn't appear to be something that will crumble if you get too close to it. You notice the markings of some language around the edges of it. You assume it was probably the language that Estelle was speaking as she was making this hole appear. And then you look into the water, and then the words of Uncle Bartholomew echo in your head for a second. Whatever you do, stay away from the water. And I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw, Leanna.
Uh, sure. Roll wisdom saving throw.
That is an 11. Um, Estelle,
Yes.
you see as you offer first to let Leanna uh, go in, you watch as she kind of takes a second to observe around the sides of the entrance that you made and just kind of being the safety minded individual she's been for a while. And then you see her look into the water. And then she just kind of stares and keeps staring. And she just
Leanna?
doesn't
Mm.
move.
Uh, she's gonna approach and say, Leanna, are you alright? Is
And
something
then
in there?
and then Leanna says, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Is there something in there? You seem
I'm fine.
and
And
it.
go ahead.
Sorry, Colin. Uh, Definitely going to insight that because that doesn't seem fine.
Roll an insight check.
That will be a 16.
16. Give me 1 second. Ah, oh, I don't have. I forgot to turn on my. Are Leanna's rolls turning up on roll 20?
Uh, they are not. They are appearing in D&D Beyond.
Okay, they are. So, Uh, she. It's weird. This, unlike you, Estelle, this niece of yours has has not dealt with the magical realm as much as you have, and a lot's been going on. So maybe she's just kind of taking a moment to let all of this really sink in, because this has been a lot. This was a lot for you. You can only imagine how much it's been for her.
Uh, so, uh, Russian explanation? Yes, totally. Well, yeah, well, I know you said you don't want to really get wet, so, uh, I think I'm able to change to more types of animals now, so I could try to shift into something large enough to swim, and you can just ride on my back or something.
And as you're giving this explanation, Leanna keeps staring at the water, and then her mouth opens a little bit, and she leans in, and it looks like at first she's drinking from it, just letting the flow of the water go into her mouth, and then her face starts going in it, and then her hair.
Okay,
But
yeah,
she's
no,
still staying up on top.
yeah, no, she's definitely okay. That is very much not normal, not fine. Things are not good. Pulling back.
You're trying to pull her out of the water?
I mean, yeah, because that okay, just seeing like staring into the water. I mean, sure, there might be something in there, but then just slowly leaning into it like that. No, that something is very much wrong.
Okay. Give me an athletics check. Or strength. Straight strength.
All right. Either way, it's gonna be bad. Let's go. 15. Not that bad.
15. Okay. 11 from Liana. As you go behind her to pull back, there's an initial weird kind of resistance. Like she's going rigid. And it takes you a couple of seconds to actually get her up, but you eventually do, and you pull her back, and you both lean backwards and tumble out of the water and away from the hole. As that happened, Leanna,
Hmm?
hello. Uh,
Hello.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Do do do. Leanna, as you looked into the water, you felt yourself almost being pulled, and you there's a moment in which a reaction or some sort of natural instinct would kick in, but you feel yourself pulled into a dark, deep abyss. A moment you're out in the bright sunlight of the day, or at least late afternoon, and now it's dark and you're floating. Your arms moving in the water, keeping yourself afloat by natural instinct. And despite the fact you're underwater, you aren't losing any breath. In fact, breathing through your mouth and nose is just as natural as it is on the surface.
She's gonna switch from keeping herself up with her arms to just a couple kicks with her legs every now and again. She's gonna reach for her cards like she always does when she's nervous.
Okay. The regular playing cards or the special?
Special ones. She's underwater. She doesn't want her trick cards to get ruined, and these bladed ones seem to be made of sterner stuff.
Okay. And you take them out and you, I'm guessing, either fiddle with them or just.
Fiddle a bit, and she's then, after doing that, going to flip one of the face cards. And if you could roll a d4 to figure out which one's on top, please.
Okie doke. That is a 4.
That would be the Seeker.
The Seeker. So. God, these cards have a story to tell their own.
Yes, they do.
You look at the Seeker card and you, for one, notice the design on the card. And unlike the other cards that are either full figures themselves, this one is a singular part. This one, as the name would suggest, is just a singular eye. And the eye itself, as you look at it, there's just this distinct feeling that you're being watched.
She's going to flip the card back over and see if the feeling goes away.
You flip the card back over, and it's hard to tell whether or not it's due to the fact that the environment that you're in is so foreign and unreasonable, or if it's the card itself, but you still feel like you're being watched.
Not a feeling that she is unused to, because she's used to people watching her during her performances, but this feels different than just eyes on her watching how she's doing what she's doing. This is just feels like somebody just like, I'm going to go with like observing her like she is a part of the thing's collection. If that makes sense. If I think that's what she would be noticing.
That's a totally valid reaction. Does
She's
she do
going
anything else?
Take a deep breath. Exhale, because panicking right now will not solve anything, and she will attempt to speak. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am. Just want to go back to helping my family.
You say those words, and there's a stillness, and it feels like it's not as if, like you said, you're unfamiliar with the eyes of others watching you perform or do some sort of act with your family, or even when you take the stage by yourself. And it feels like your words reach out to something somewhere. And I would like me, to roll a perception check. Do.
No guidance because she's too disturbed to think to do so.
You were more focused on the words that you were speaking and the image on the card that you saw that seems to be relating to this whole situation. But in the corner of your eye, in this dark abyss of clear or murky water, you can't tell as there lacks barely any sunlight, but yet you can still somehow make out the card you saw. You can tell that you're underwater. But off in the distance, the far, far distance, there seems to be, almost in the shape of a crescent moon on the flat side of your vision, of your peripheral vision, is what almost looks like a sunrise. It's a yellowish gold, just a sliver of it off in the distance.
The only thing that's different, only thing I can make out, only one thing to do. And she begins making her way towards it.
Okay. And as you travel there, Leanna is a fast individual. And while moving through this water, you can feel the time pass. Despite the speed at which you are moving, you can feel 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You do notice that the crescent sliver shape of the pseudo sunrise does appear to be growing larger. It just appears to be a very long distance away. Do you continue?
He has no better plan, and she's not one to give up.
Okay. 20 minutes. 25 minutes. 30 minutes. Do you continue?
Yep. She has a goal in mind, and she will single-mindedly go towards it. It's just like practicing one of her acts. She's going to get it.
With that stalwart notion, she continues. 45 minutes. 55 minutes. And then an hour. And as that hour hits, she finally reaches the crest between the darkness and the light. And as she crests over it, it's almost like the light is the beam of the sun itself, creating shadows across her body with how bright it is. And you are enveloped in this new yellow golden light. It appears and feels almost warm. What do you do?
She's going to look around, not really giving herself too much time to think about how completely strange this all is, because if she does end up stopping, she's going to freak. And she knows this, so she's not letting herself fully stop.
Okay. So you're continuing to swim, or you're just looking around getting your bearings?
Looking around, getting bearings. She's not letting her mind stop to try and just calm down and figure things out, because if she stops thinking, stops trying to move herself forward, even if only mentally, she's probably going to lose it for a little bit, and she knows she can't afford that.
Okay. I'm gonna have her roll investigation. Is this guided?
Yes.
Okay. That is a total of a 5.
Yeah.
There's. I think the thing that she would initially kind of want to get an idea of is a grasp of what is around her, as you said, and I think what compels her is a second to go closer and just try to understand why there's this tall and seemingly long and encompassing yellow gold light that is just here somehow at the bottom of whatever river, ocean, sea, body of water that she's currently in. And she takes a second to outstretch her hand and touch the light. And the first sensation that you get is this goopy and slimy feeling when you touch it.
She's going to shudder and shake her hand, like trying to get the feeling to go away. And then she's going to look around again, more perception than investigation, to see if she notices, just generalize anything that would give her a hint as to what she should do, because she's starting to run out of ideas.
Guided?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
The dice are not being kind. It happens.
Okay, but the guidance comes in 13. I I think it would kind of kick into her cuz she is proficient in survival. Uh to get a grasp of where you are on a land or terrain or whatever that you don't understand, I think some of that training that she got from her father kicks in, and the idea is to get to a high ground in order to look and observe and try to see if maybe getting up can illuminate, for lack of a better term and pardon the pun, the situation.
Yep.
So,
Determined nod, and then goes straight up.
are you going straight up alongside the light, or are you going straight up as in away from the light?
She's going whichever direction up is.
I'm gonna. Because you're underwater, so it's
Yes.
kind of hard to tell which way is up.
Well, if she's floating in the water,
You're
the body tends to try and orient towards up.
very true, but you're also breathing underwater. So perhaps the rules of this domain aren't the same as to what you're used to.
So she will reach into her rock pouch, grab a rock, and drop it and see where it falls.
Okay. Uh so as you take the rock out and you drop it, it would you would notice it gravitate towards the light.
The light is down. The light is also warm, but then it's also slimy. Oh. She's going to shake her head, and finally, after all this, try and tie her hair up if it isn't already up in this whatever state she's in.
You do so.
All right. Wasn't certain if it was already tied up because of just what this place happens to be.
For the sake of it, we'll say that wasn't.
Said it before, earlier, saying it again. I want to get back to helping my family. I want out of here.
And you say that.
No, go ahead. She may have something to continue with depending on what the answer she receives is, if there is an answer.
Because I'm still going with that perception check that I haven't elaborated on. So as you notice that the stone goes down, you swim up away from that stone, saying those words to yourself. And as you go about 30, 40 feet away, the light is still bright. The water seems to be vacant of any structures like rock or coral or anything. But then she turns back around, and getting a distance away, there's a second where her mind absorbs what is in front of her, and she notices that the golden light in front of her stretches out for what seems like miles to the left, and then to the right is the dark abyss. But just in the distance, seemingly miles of uninterrupted space to the right, is another slim shape of golden light.
She will go towards the slim shape and also will continue muttering to herself as she does so. Between darkness and light, too much of either is not a good thing. Balance in between.
So you're going towards the light that's miles away on the right-hand side?
Yes, the small sliver.
Okay. Another 10, 25, 45 hour. And you reach it. And on this side appears to be the same as on the opposite.
I know someone's here watching me. I don't know what you want.
I'm going to have you roll an intelligence check.
Oh, goody. One of the things she's good at.
Okie doke. Guided?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm rolling really good on the D4s for some reason. So that is a 17. As Leanna...
We take those. We take those.
Yeah. As Leanna thinks about it, it tries to process in her head something that could be similar or alike to what she's experiencing, something, anything at all. And then she thinks back to the card. And then she thinks and looks at what's in front of her. And I think it dawns on her that what she's looking at, the yellow golden light, is a sclera, and the dark abyss in between is a pupil.
Oh, that was not what I was expecting, but oh boy.
And
Why
at
am I
that
in some
moment,
creature's eye?
sorry, go ahead.
No, she was just doing a little freak out with the why am I in something's eye?
And at that moment, as you're trying to, oh, what? You feel a tug around your waist, and then another, and then. And as you are pulled out, we are now joined back with Estelle at the top of Shuruknatau as she just pulled Leanna's head out of the water. Apologies for interrupting you so many times, Maru.
No worries, no worries. Leanna's just going to lay there stunned for a second, for looking around, seeing Estelle, and just hugging her super tight.
Uh, she is again stunned for just a brief second, then just uh returns the embrace and just gently uh pats her on the back. It's like, okay, it's all right. What?
Y- she doesn't know how to begin to describe what the hell was just happening.
Right. Okay. So,
I, 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 I guess I know why Bartholomew warned me to stay away from the water. She shudders a little bit, having briefly forgotten that warning, and will now no longer forget said warning.
what? Right. That I'm so sorry. I should
I,
have.
I, I forgot too. I forgot to. But when I guess I was in the water, I was in a place of darkness. I felt like I was being watched. I checked my cards, and it was the Seeker and I. I swam towards a light, and it felt weird as hell. And this is over the course of hours. And I swam back towards another thing of light, and I was talking to myself as I went, and then I noticed that I was in a creature's eye. The darkness was a pupil, the light was the sclera, and it all went away when you pulled me out.
You. Oh, okay. That that is very much not good.
I
Wait,
agree. I agree.
wait, you said hours?
It felt like hours.
It it was only not even 3 minutes. But well, all right. Now we know. Don't ever do this again.
Yes, bodies of water no good.
Yeah. So we should.
Let's go get in line.
Yeah, very much.
But
And
there was some druidic writing that I saw before I got entranced. If you want to look at that, I couldn't read it. I'm assuming it's druidic anyway.
all right, I'll take a look then. But
I'm going to step back over here. She's going to say after finally letting go and taking a few more steps back. I'm not even going to look and just turn around so she's not facing it.
Estelle is now very concerned and going to look at what the uh writing that she said she saw was.
Yeah, looking at it, um, you know it quite well. It's the writing that you're chanting imparted there. It's part of the enchantment of
All right. Makes sense. Okay. And she's just going to turn around and say, nothing of much importance. Let's just get going, okay?
Yeah, okay, okay.
And she's gonna, uh,
Can you dry me off, please?
right, she'll cast Druidcraft to, do that.
Thank you.
And, uh, afterwards, she will stand, on Cleona's left and, uh, put her right arm around around Leona's, back and just a comforting side hug as they walk.
Also, close that, please.
Right, yeah. And she'll it's a lot's happening for her, so she's
Yeah.
a million places at once. She'll close that, then go right on back.
Okay, no problem. Uh, as you guys continue back to the line that was, not so far away, only about 30 or so feet away, the Luxodon who are imparting one by one kind of look at you, the next one in line, and just has this questioning look on their face as they see a shiny new Estelle and a very concerned looking Leanna as you guys approach. And the Luxodon in front kind of just leans down and says, Is everything all right?
I saw something a little disturbing. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
Thank, thank you for your concern.
Did you want to say something, Estelle?
uh, I was going to say something, but it just, as soon as I thought of it, completely went out of my mind. Good to move on.
The Luxodon says, Well, um, I think most of the immediate families in. If you want to go ahead, that's no problem to me.
Would be appreciated, thank you. Didn't want to interrupt the procession.
Thank you very much.
And you guys are allowed up front. The Luxodon behind him don't appear angry or frustrated or upset. Everyone seems to be in a fairly just solemn mood, and any kind of temperament at this time is not really. Any volatile temperament at this time is not really seen as you guys descend back into Shirak Natau. And you are greeted with the sounds of much more talking than usual, the normal natural sounds of wildlife running through the walls and branches and along the ground, or even the cawing of birds overhead, are kind of all muffled by the sounds of voices talking like the middle of a busy city square. You guys are now back inside.
Well, at least he didn't lock us out.
Thankfully.
Let's go find Moss.
Hmm. Yeah, let's let's do that. Fill him in on the many things that have just happened, and then uh, try to figure out what to do next.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I'm not gonna have a roll for this. That would be egregious. Uh, as you, Estelle, kind of look around, and now that you've been back home for just a little bit at least, you're starting to get your feet back, and about 15 or so minutes of walking, kind of cutting through some groups of people that are kind of huddled and talking together. Uh, you do eventually find Uncle Moss, not in the same location that you discovered the body, but you do find him kind of, if Shrek Natal is a circle, kind of in the uh, more middle left, so south of where you guys found the body. And it appears to be wrapped up in sheets, and there appears to be a few different Loxodon kind of standing over, one in more of a ceremonial garb, saying some words. Leanna, you would recognize the words after a second as just kind of saying, and as this soul is now taken into your embrace, please bless its journey. A religious kind of
Religious rite
departing.
type thing.
Yeah. And Uncle Moss seems to be standing off about 15 or so feet along the side. The kind of staring at one Loxodon in particular that's on their knees and has their forehead up against the forehead of the draped figure or covered figure. Oh,
Leanna's. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you're back. Did you find anything?
Um, a
Handful of
few
things.
things. So, we went to the uh where Laurel was uh attacked, and it there wasn't too much, but there were these weird white alabaster-y looking stones that just honestly didn't belong anywhere near here. There was some there was some silvery blood on some leaves, and uh
And a portal to the Feywild.
mhm, uh Passeth went in, shot out immediately, and again shot out. Third time, 10 minutes passed, and he didn't get shot out, but when he did come out, he had uh he it she's going to say this next few parts a bit more quietly. uh he had a he said he went to, if I remember what he said exactly correctly,
The Unseelie Realm.
where the poison that affected Laurel came from, and came back with a flower of it to try to make an antidote, he said.
Uh, as you mentioned the Unseelie court, there's a look of I don't even know what the expression would be on his face. A very mixture of impressed and mortified as Moss says, the fairy took it upon himself to go to the unseelie court by themselves.
Estelle will nod her head.
Yeah, I wasn't going into a fairy portal.
Well, I guess commendations to your companion. That's that's a feat of bravery I've never heard of out of a fairy, pixie, and any fae beyond a hag. But
He
uh,
he he very much sees himself as a dwarf.
Yeah.
well, he has. It appears he has the stubborn mind of one.
Yeah.
But as for the flower and the antidote, I see he's not currently with you, so I cannot urge him to practice caution, but if he was capable enough to go in there alone and come back alive, or at least unchanged, then maybe there's more to him than I'm giving him credit for.
I, I have faith in him.
But you
I
two
don't
look.
think something like this. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. You two look quite shaken. You said you found blood and these stones. Perhaps this was the weapon used to attack Laurel not that long ago.
Probably. I had to
Perhaps.
assume.
But if it was a poison, a throwing stone is a very, very poor delivery vehicle.
How many did you find?
Uh, there were 3 of them, and she'll go into her pouch and bring them out.
Uncle Moss just takes a second to look at you as if to say, "May I?" As he looks like he's about to pick one out of your hand.
She'll nod and present, just push them forward a little bit.
He takes one and kind of observes it, and he feels the density of it. While I agree with Leanna's conclusion that a throwing stone may not be too effective, perhaps because what I'm trying to gather is that Laurel, from her testimony, said that she wasn't stabbed, but it felt like she was overcome by something. It doesn't appear that she was under any magical influence. So maybe we're thinking about this a little too complicated. Maybe it wasn't as nefarious as a sinister weapon. Maybe. And he kind of takes out a little cloth from his side and then wraps it, takes the two other rocks from your hand, Estelle, and wraps it up in a little sack and kind of swings it around a bit. Perhaps it was something a little bit more simple.
it was probably that. So if it was that to knock her unconscious, then hmm, the
And then
poison.
they had her drink it.
That's the
Since it
only thing.
since it wasn't a wound that wouldn't heal, it attacked her insides and made her sick.
And that also, to me, one thing that I can't get out of my mind is why something I did that everyone else tried much more powerful versions of worked, but nothing else did. And then kind of a light bulb kind of moment. Wait, so okay, so the poison works best when it's used by someone. uh, The so hard to word this. The user must hate one person very much and then use it on a second person that the first person loves. So what if
So it's a fairy poison, and there's always a reverse.
that's what I'm thinking? The best way to heal it is the one who loves the person, who was afflicted by it.
Which is why it didn't work when you tried it on Dad, because you didn't know him. But if Mom had the ability to do so, she would have been able to do it.
It, it makes sense.
It feels like something out of one of Jenny's stories. That it makes sense.
I interesting conjecture. Um, hmm. I cannot confirm nor deny it. I mean, that's a very that is a very Fey-like rule structure. And he just kind of looks bemused for a second, just kind of thinking on it, and there's a small smile on his face as he's just kind of thinking over this, almost like he's just impressed at how this is a a thing. Like he just solved, or at least was told an answer to a puzzle, and he's very happy with the answer. Well, mildly happy, I should say, not very happy. Um, I'm sorry. There's been, I know there's been a lot for you. There's been a lot for me too. Just
A
try and
lot's been happening.
yes. Um, did you, Estelle? Were you able to find Luan or Soleil at all?
So, uh, not so late, but Luan we were able to find, and I'm going to, I think I'm gonna try to find him again, because it did not
Go well.
particularly go well.
He kind of looks a little bit confused at that. Is he okay?
I I hope so. Passeth, he he said that Luan gave him the same feeling as someone else he knew, and apparently that someone else he knew wasn't a very good person, so it got a little.
He also was trying to sneak up behind us in the bushes and the brush. It was very, very, very strange.
Yeah, I'm just really concerned that something is going on with him and Estelle, Soleil.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit odd for the boy. He's been a bit odd recently, but I mean, with the whole situation with Laurel and everyone kind of being up in arms and panicking that there could be possibly someone who's out for our circle, I can see why people were acting odd, but after she was healed, I don't see why that would continue.
It's also right after we found found the body.
Did he give you an explanation for why he was there?
No, not one that was actually a proper explanation for anything.
If I'm remembering right, he said something like why the why it looked like outside, why the plants seemed to be dying, I believe, if he said that,
I
but
Uh,
it
I
still
don't
didn't make
just so you guys,
like.
I'm not gonna have you roll history because it happened hours ago for you. Just as a reminder, if you are having trouble remembering, uh, his reasoning was that he was investigating why the plants were dying, and he said that someone has to basically protect because this is weird that's going on, so I'm gonna be the big bad protector guy.
Yeah, he said he was investigating why plants were dying, but um he was following, or at least trying to follow us in the brushes and not doing an amazing job of it. Pretty obvious that he was trying to follow us, nothing else.
Yeah, and it's just I'm just really worried because she'll kind of uh laugh, reminiscing a little bit. He he was he was acting a lot like when he tried to uh cover for Soleil and die, so that's very much red flags. He's such a terrible liar.
Worst liar I've ever seen.
I understand your drive to find both him and Soleil, but at the moment, he kind of looks over you two. You you both have been through a lot already, and it's the beginning of the day. um, maybe maybe it would be best just to step on the brakes a little bit and uh, maybe apply a measure of proactive caution.
Don't go running headfirst into things that we have no information on. That sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been since you guys have actually taken a second to not be actively doing something involving your quest?
Yes.
So, yeah, Estelle uh, inhales, going to say something, then stops, thinks, uh, since it started?
Now,
Basically, yeah.
I understand your need to get something done, get as far as you can, as quickly as you can, but eventually you are going to either wear out your body or your mind, and in doing either, you will ruin exactly what you're trying to do. So maybe it's time to just breathe, take a moment, and try to recuperate before you go headlong into the next chapter of your story.
We can certainly try, but based on how things have happened, the next chapter might run into us.
That's all I
Yeah,
can ask for.
no,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just speaking. I was speaking too quietly. The mic was barely picking me up. Sorry. No, you go on.
I'm I'm just worried that Show's gonna blame us for this and try and kick us out, banish Estelle, forbid me from coming back, forbid Mom from coming back. Not that I think she would with me now knowing what I do, but
Show is a collection of a lot of hot air. I He was trying to work things around even when Estelle was younger. And the only time Estelle was quote unquote, well, any time Estelle left was under her own accord. So, I don't
yes,
believe
I'm just worried that he's gonna prevent us from coming back. He said that he would do as much
when you came back in.
this time.
Well, if he didn't stop you the first time, I wouldn't try to worry myself over the empty threats of someone as deeply insecure as he is.
I'll try not to.
Yeah, Estelle cracks a small chuckle at uh what Moss said, his remark, and nods and says, "Yeah, all right. I'll I'll hate it, but I'll try."
Well, if he does kick you out, I can always turn into a giant badger and dig you a tunnel back in. So, there.
Appreciated. But
Thanks, Uncle Moss.
Um, at this time, Uncle Moss will just kind of give you a smile and turn his attention back to the Loxodons. As at this time, I would ask, you have some time to breathe, you have some time to kind of rest and maybe do some more minor things while Paseth is also working on his project. So, is there anything you guys would like to do?
Practice one of her acts.
Okay.
Is that, well, no. There are two main things that Estelle wants to do, and one side thing as those go on. I'm not sure which one of the two main things. One of them is just to do as much research as possible into everything that's been going on, the creatures that they've encountered, seeing if there's anything changing, or the other option, which is um, just now that she's home, just trying her best to build some goodwill among the people, just trying to help out uh, the community as best she can.
Okay.
Which one? So, okay. So her main focus is going to be on doing some research into uh, the stars and which ones left, when, where they should be, just to keep track of things. And also try to see if there's anything regarding uh, one, the weird creature that they fought at the shores near, name escapes my mind, but you know what I'm talking about. Uh,
Lost
near, yeah, near Lashard, thank you. Uh, so anything about that, and if she can't find anything on that thing, then okay, let's see if there are any folk tales that uh, feature anyone that somehow vaguely resemble the maestro and his personality and or looks, and see if there's anything in stories that could show some kind of insight into weakness, or to uh, how to see through illusions better, knowing other than just knowing that it's not real.
Okay. So, for the purposes of this, um, I will be saying that this is going to be something that doesn't that takes place over a while.
Mm.
So this will be probably a couple of days.
Okay.
Um, so, Leanna, I'm gonna start with Estelle. If while I'm going over her with anything, if there's anything else you wanted to do during this time, I will definitely go over that with you. Um, but like I said, we will start with Estelle. So you were looking first for information about the stars, their disappearance, and in order and everything.
hmm Mostly as a refresher and to see if anything has changed, well, we know that 2 stars came back, so to see if there's any records on exactly when, if they were noted.
Okay. I am going to need you to roll me a luck roll.
All right.
That is a
Would that? Sorry, go on.
that's a D100, and you want below a 30.
All right. Oh, 3, 2, 1, roll. A 10.
Holy shit!
Oh,
Goddamn. Okay. uh
all right. This is my sign to get my notes ready.
yeah. Okay. Uh so Estelle, the the thing about Shirok Natal is that it's not it's not really like a current hub of ongoing research. Even when you were younger, like the observatory was more a temple of spiritualism than it was a scientific study. It's definitely more of a place to pray, a place to get spiritual strength, a place to connect with nature. It a lot of what Shiruknutau has in terms of the tablets that it contains is ancient knowledge. It is, you know, back before the dawn of civilization, there was this truth and there was this, you know, way. So it's less of a current research hub than it is a place to find information about the distant past. Most of the current research that was done was shit you did. Your observations, your taking it to everyone and trying to communicate and trying to form some sort of hypotheses. You were the closest thing to a modern scientist in Shuruk Natal. But as you go through and look and try to find something, anything that would be new information, you find something weird. The area that you're researching is a section opposite of where the dead branches and leaves are, towards the right center of Shirak Natal, a cylindrical shaped room, taller, kind of caved off. Not caved off, but more like how your rooms are. And as you're looking through it and pouring through it, and just kind of, there's a big pile of tablets behind you as you're just looking through it, looking at it. Nope, 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 and just kind of putting it behind you. You come across something weird, and it catches your eye. And what you notice is a leather-bound book, which is very weird for Shirak Natal. And you open it, and you begin reading, and there's a lot in here. how how long would you spend in one sitting reading this?
Uh, it depends on how interesting this is, and considering it's a a leather-bound book, that is very interesting. This usually something like this is really not something that quote unquote belongs here. So just it'll probably be like, oh, this is odd. All right, just a few minutes, a few more hours go by, because she might just uh, it's not going to be statistical, analyze every single word kind of a study, but she's definitely going to be reading through each page, getting the most information possible, because this is definitely something's up with this.
Yeah, and you notice that almost immediately as you open the book. And the book is written in this very fine cursive writing. It's very much like what you would see in a Victorian era love letter. It's delicately written but immaculate. And while I probably should have some writing samples to give you, because you rolled so damn lucky.
Oh.
There's in this book, it begins with disseminating information about the stars themselves, the constellations, what dictates the stars' changes in the night sky itself, how one would theorize it to be. There's a lot of almost poetic writing in here as it seems to contemplate that the night sky, or postulate, I should say, that the night sky is merely the closed eyes to a bigger world waiting to be awakened again by the morning sun. And a lot of very pretty writing in that sense. But then, for the first time outside of the circle of people that you were aware of, you see a mention of the stars disappearing. You see a mention of the order in which it has disappeared. Why is my computer not working? You see the order in which the constellations have disappeared, and you notice a disturbingly similar trend with it. How they seem to notice that first the eye of the matron would disappear, then the knee of the traveler, the smile of the joyous, the scale of fairness, the peace of the monk, the wand of the wizard. And taking a look at it, it seems less like it's an observation and more like it's a commitment to study, as it's less of a, oh, well, on today this happened, and as a result of this I noticed this, this, and this. It sounds more like, well, on this day the star will disappear. On this day the star will disappear, and then this will happen. So it's less of a observation journal and more of a predictive one.
Okay, no, yeah, this is all of her attention right now.
Um, and as you read further into it and you get past the section that talks about, you know, on the on the first day when the eye of the matron disappears and the untruth will become truth and those that are lost will remain lost. And then on the second day, when the knee of the traveler disappears, those that refuse to move will never move, and so on and so forth. You get past that whole section, and there's more writing in there that it becomes less immaculate and more disturbed. The writing begins to become a little bit erratic as the sections move forward further and further. The text itself, less giving information and more just the poetic ramblings sounding more like rantings. Eventually getting to the point that the book itself just is covered in scratches and scribbles and nonsensical writings and confusion. The end of the book, however, sees a return to normal as you get to the end. And I don't know if I have it ready. Did I fucking do it? I don't think I did. Shit. As you get to the end, there's a passage that's almost like a diary. And it says, "Today is the first day of the rest of my life. Today, I become what I was truly meant to be. Today, I no longer look up to her, but I am alongside her. Today, the resplendent promise will be made."
Oh, that does not sound good. Oh, no.
I will definitely go over more specifics on a later time because there is more in there, but that's pretty much the biggest gist that you got.
Okay. So she has completely finished the book?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how how long did that take? What time is it now? Because she would have had no outside awareness. So now that it's done, it's like, hey, what time is it?
For you, oddly enough, it feels only like half an hour.
Okay. Didn't take that long. Okay. This is definitely something to keep record of. This is very much something to keep if possible, and to basically shut. She gets the idea, but is not going to actually do this. To basically just shove it in Show's face and say, "Here, no record, huh? There's no record of the stars disappearing, huh?"
So you're
But
looking for show?
no, no, no.
Oh,
She is not doing that. This is just hypothetical. It's like, ooh, that'd be so fun to just shove this in his face and watch him wither away. But no, no, not going to do that. Not that petty yet. But now that that's done, she's going to uh uh put the book with the rest of her things just as a okay, now this is more information. Talk about it with others later. And now that step one is done, on to the next thing.
which was
Uh, Seeing if there's anything to anything that could shed any more information, any more light on the creature that we fought near Lostshire. And well, let's just start with that first.
okay. Roll me another luck check with the same parameters.
All right, 1d100, 85, nada.
Yeah, you're not really finding anything about a fucking monstrosity like that.
Okay, didn't think so. Couldn't hurt to look. And third and final thing is any um any folk tales or anything that describes a figure similar to the Mad Maestro and uh what happened in those stories. Uh, would they reveal like sometimes truth sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction, and things that are thought of as fiction could lead insight into the truth. So who knows, maybe something about this could shed some light on him, or the illusions he does, or just something about him other than he's insane and wants me dead.
I'll say to roll in 1 second, but I think there's a slightly more pressing matter after taking the second to truly get, a grip on things. You kind of feel tired and you notice your stomach rumble and you just feel woof. You feel very famished and very. Basically, you feel like you've pulled an all nighter. A, a weird feeling considering you've only been in here half an hour.
Okay. Uh, she's gonna take that as a sign. Okay, might be getting a little bit too deep into this. Just take a second, relax, eat something, drink some water or something. Just take a 10, 15, 20, however long break just to feel right again.
Okay. Are you leaving the area or are you just snacking in there?
Uh, Unless she knows of a rule, don't eat in the records area, then now she would just stay there, eat something, just take a break, stand up, walk around, just a healthy life stuff.
Okay. Uh, you take a second, you just kind of sit down and you start eating, uh, taking a little snack from your rations. And then there's just a feeling of, oh, yeah, I've been in here a while. And you drift the fuck off to sleep. Um, unless matters change, for the sake of this, Estelle, hello?
Yeah? Hello?
Hello. You can mark off one of the 3 points of exhaustion that you have.
Wait. Huh? I. Oh. Okay. So from 3 to 2. Okay. That's weird. Oh no.
So, Leanna, after Estelle has, dismissed herself to go and study for a while, try and find out what information she can, you wanted to practice your act?
Just various tricks and things that she does. Just make sure she's not losing her form.
Okay. Since I have your character sheet, I will say we will roll acrobatics just as a measure of seeing of where you are. Are you guiding yourself?
No, because she wouldn't be doing so during a show.
Very fair. That's a 21.
Nice.
Still kind of low for her.
Still kind of low, but as you have been more combat and investigative focused instead of performative focused, it is a decent and respectable role. The act that you've done 100 times has not been rusted over. You don't have that kind of trying to get back into it need. You melt back into it fairly seamlessly. There are a few moments, few cartwheels where you think, oh, I could have done that better. My arm should have been outstretched a little bit more to make it less clunky moving. But for the most part, you definitely have an impressive showing, and while doing so, have drawn a bit of a crowd who have started watching and kind of looking for a bit of that escape after what has gone on over the past little while.
After finishing the routine, she's going to give a ostentatious bow and then start juggling.
Okie dokie. For that, I'm going to have you roll performance, which doesn't really matter since it's the same modifier, but. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. This is why I feel guilty rolling for my players.
Not one.
No, a 4.
Eh.
So 12. This is interesting though. When you start juggling, you've juggled before for the performance of it, but you've also juggled as a way to kind of calm yourself down and relieve that stress. And the last time you used part of your act to relieve stress, there you used your cards. you didn't resort to this older method. So, kind of a confliction inside of Leanna. You're able to competently juggle, but it's very much kind of the same motion and pattern. You're not doing any tricks. You're not making it go super high and then doing under the leg or kind of twisting and turning. It's just
It's
very
missing
much.
it's missing the flair.
Yes. You have the foundation down, but the flair is not there. And you kind of notice a few people in the crowd go, oh. And then some of them start kind of walking away, seemingly losing a bit of interest. About Go ahead.
No, I was going to say she was going to let the stones fall, catch them, put them away, and then start doing some sleight of hand card tricks.
Okay. I will roll another performance check for you.
Or sleight of hand. I think that's also the same modifier.
It is, but you are specifically doing this for a performance.
Yes.
So, I will stick to that. Okay. 8.
It's better. It's a 16.
It is.
Total 16. It's better.
She's rattled a little just overall. So yeah, not being on her perfect A game, and it's also not a full showtime.
Yeah, as you perform these tricks of sleight of hand, people are still interested and still vested, and definitely more of the Loxodons are kind of sitting around and, just clapping after each trick. They appreciate the show, and by no means are you bad, but there's also a large portion of it where they are just desperately seeking an escape of some sort.
Yes.
And as your last trick is done, the crowd doesn't disperse, but they're more mingling amongst themselves. And there's a clap that kind of permeates the air as you see a figure approach you, a female figure, and just so I can describe it while looking at it so it's a little bit clearer for me, they look like this. Doo-doo-doo. The figure is dressed in a brown tunic with green, kind of like thigh socks. They go down to the calf and back up to the thigh, covered by more brown coverings. Her hair is long and green. Her tail, which is very long, very skinny, and has a almost plume of feathers at the end, which is a more lighter green as opposed to her dark forest green hair. Her eyes are a full color of yellow, and you see before you a recognizable figure, because this is the same figure that you had run into earlier. The figure that was once believed to be Estelle's friend from the past. You recognize this as Soleil. And that is where we will take our break.
Oh. Oh. Okay, so that's one thing off the player's mind, but not off the character's mind.
Yes.
Yeah, the freaking player who keeps getting natural 20s and goddamn luck checks.
Okay,
Hey,
no.
the story wants to be told.
My my luck always operates in extremes. I am very lucky, but that doesn't mean it always has to be good luck. Just wait 5 sessions from now, I'm gonna get nothing but nat ones and hundreds on 100 rolls when I don't want it.
Oh, you absolute mad lad.
I mean, it's well, I did once roll 2 nat 20s with disadvantage when I was trying to cast a spell that was 1 level higher than what I had at the time.
You know what? Go eat
Uh,
your damn food. I'll be here on break.
Well, since I'm on my phone, I can hang out and chat with you while I take care of the dog and hopefully make dinner, depending on if the oven preheats fast enough or not.
Are you sure?
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I am happy that my luck does this so often. All right, I'm gonna go down, get some dinner, and be back soon.
Okay. See you in a bit. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I I was not expecting that.
I kind of don't have any specific expectations ever because everything can be so volatile because of the dice.
See, I wasn't expecting him to ask for that, but I realized that since there was a chance of that happening, it's only fair that I allow at least a roll to determine it.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okie doke. Welcome to the halftime show. um, yeah, fuck. This is when I really wish I could pause because I kind of need a minute. I.
Eh,
That book is a hell of a find.
we're just going to need to be able to figure out how to make the best use of it.
Yeah, there are a few ways.
We just need to
Oh.
figure it out, which is the important part.
um. Yeah, God. So, how's everyone else doing today?
Doing all right. Doing all right. To explain to everyone, uh, all two of you who are watching, why I'm not rolling for myself. My laptop's in for repairs, so I don't have access to my character sheet while also in Discord.
Yeah, it makes me feel so guilty when I
Don't.
just like, oh yeah, we'll have you roll for your character stuff, and then I roll low. Because
These things happen.
even if I
Well,
roll high, it feels like I'm taking away that from you because that should be. I know it's necessary because you can't do it right now.
it's no big deal. I'm still making my own decisions.
Very true.
And I'm kind of glad that Lana failed that wisdom check because that gave more information and led the dice continuing to tell the story with the seeker.
Oh boy.
Both times so far when she has pulled a random card when in a weird situation, it has been the ostensibly correct card for that situation.
The sheer luck you've had with that is amazing.
That's why I leave it up to the dice, because they want to tell a story.
I mean, even with Estelle's kind of terror reading that they did, that was amazingly accurate.
The stars and tarot cards want the story to be told.
Yeah, I. It's a shame that Passeth can't be here because I think the story is really getting its stride going, and we're hitting a point where stuff is now falling into place, stuff is being understood, and a true objective is going to be put in place, I feel, soon.
Yes. But also, we're recording this, so he can be one of the 2 people who watches.
Well, funny that you mentioned that, because alongside on this channel, again, for all of my 7 or our 7 subscribers, I should say, we actually got a few more because I am going to be running another show on Tuesdays from the Tales of Zadia core rulebook from the Dragon Prince show.
Oh, cool.
Those videos will also be posted on this channel, and I am hoping for a May 24th start date. That is tentative because while I love the show and I love how the rulebook is setting up characters being a focus, it feels, at least to me, as someone that started with D&D 5th edition, a bit needlessly complicated.
Yeah, 5th did help unmuddle things, but it's also a bit more complicated than 4th, which needlessly uncomplicated some things.
I mean, the thing with the Tales of Zadia rulebook is that the system, for one, is a dice pool system, which is already but there are so many rules when it comes to just a basic roll that it makes me want to just do Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like D20, roll, add this, or take away that, you're done. This has so many.
D&D tries to streamline it with that, but dice pools can work. And I've also played a couple D10 systems and at least one D6 system.
D6 systems are great. I love those.
D10 systems were a lot of fun. They were all by a White Wolf.
Oh, I have not played that.
I haven't played Vampire the Masquerade, but I've played Exalted and Geist the Sin Eaters, I think it was.
Ooh.
Exalted is, what if every player character is a D&D character on steroids? Basically, what if the Exalt, what basically all the players are, were a level 20 D&D character, and that is the baseline for this level of power?
Oh, jeez.
But it's a world built around and expecting things like that. So what you fight is also very powerful. Level 1 sorcery, they were like first circle is what they were called for the initial level. Like in D&D, first level spell, you got your magic missiles and stuff like that. In Exalted, you have a spell called Death of Obsidian Butterflies. You send a swarm of obsidian shards shaped like butterflies flying out in front of you to just smash through things. That is a first circle spell.
Jesus.
Uh,
Okay.
It also has a stunt system where if you describe how you do something in a sufficiently awesome manner, the DM can give you an additional 1, 2, or 3 d10s to roll.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it basically you're basically never going to get 3 dice unless you do something supremely awesome and describe it in such a way that it's like this is the best thing ever. Usually you're going to get 1 dice, sometimes 2, but the DM can just go, you're just obviously flowering something up to try and get dice, you don't get any bonuses.
That sounds like fun.
Yes. It gives a little more of a splash to I hit him with my sword. Like I walk up to him dragging my blade on the ground with an evil glint in my eye as I swing with an overhand strike to attempt to cleave him in twain. Like just adds a little more oomph to attacks and doing anything. It's also a game where social combat exists.
Ooh.
Yeah, instead of physically fighting somebody, you can literally embarrass them out of existence if you have the right charms, which are the spells and abilities. There are entire builds around sending somebody a letter that when they read it will cause them to stop existing.
This sounds like a game I desperately need to know more about.
The second edition came out a couple years ago. I haven't played since college, but I remember it being an absolute blast. There are solar exalts and lunar exalts for the quote unquote good guys, the usual ones that are played. There's also Dragonborn, or Dragon Blooded, I should say, which are less powerful, but also tend to be seen as the antagonists. And they're the Fair Folk, the Yozis, I don't fully remember what they were, the Neverborn, like just a lot of things. And game is absolutely insane.
I
Solar
Go ahead.
hero types,
Mm-hmm.
exalts have different variants, like a different cast. Solar exalts are with the sun, like, and then the lunars are with the different phases of the moon, and they each are specialized in different things. And going back to the charms for a second, one thing that you can do is combine the charms into a combo that takes more essence, your magic points, and some willpower, which is another stat that's tracked that you can spend to combine your moves together.
Oh.
Yeah, one thing that people made all the time was the quote unquote paranoia combos, because they're, despite how powerful you are, if you're caught unawares, you can still be taken out. But there is a ability that you can use to make something that you were unaware of, you are now aware of it. A perfect awareness ability. And then there are perfect defenses where you can automatically block or dodge any attack that you notice is coming. So you can spend the willpower and extra essence and experience points to make the combo to combine these two charms and use them together. The ones that I remember are for Lunar Exalt, because I played a Lunar. It was called the Wary Swallow Method and Flowing Body Evasion. That one, Flowing Body Evasion, is hysterical because that attack, it doesn't matter what it is, you just dodged it. Yeah, that
Okay.
nuke, that literal nuke that they just dropped on you, now it's fine, you dodged it.
Yeah, you
Whole thing.
ducked. It's fine.
No, your body just wasn't where the damage was.
Oh.
Like, it's an absolutely absurd system, and I love playing it, and I'd love to play it again one day.
Apologies for my silence. I'm just quickly trying to write a few things up.
No worries, no worries. I am making burgers at the moment.
I think I can hear them sizzling, or that might be the music.
I literally just turned the heat on, so that is entirely possible. Quick question, does Leanna have any points of exhaustion, or was that just Estelle?
That's just Estelle at the moment.
Okay. Probably because she's been up for 3 days straight reading everything. Even though it only feels like it was a half hour.
Perhaps. Yeah, some of this. Let's just say some of this stuff I was more preparing for you guys to come across in Rustyard.
Well, now we'll have more context for when we go, because I don't see us not going there still.
Yeah, the great D&D trap of what do you do when you set out a premise and your players meet it and you are not 100% prepared for it.
Hey, that's the risk of putting it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I have learned through my years of D&D and just not just D&D but role playing in general, if you put and just gaming in general even, if you put it in the game, someone's going to start poking it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it isn't important. If it draws someone's attention, if it's there, someone's going to poke it.
Yeah, I mean, I had ideas for it. It's just I was expecting it to be breached later. That's why I'm just like, oh crap. Oh, okay.
Thought I had more time to get this all together.
Yes.
But also with the influence of the Fae and everything going on, information can also not be what it seems. So if it's not correct, you can always change it.
True, but at the same time, I do feel, especially rolling on a D100 and
Oh, yeah,
succeeding.
yeah, yeah. I'm saying like individual details can be changed or not quite correct. Not that the whole thing is invalidated.
Fair, subjectivity does exist.
And we're also dealing with somebody who uses significant illusions. So there
True.
are ways that even with the info we can be tricked.
Ha ha ha. An excuse to cover up my lack of planning.
It's not that you didn't plan, it's that your plans got significantly accelerated.
It's like if, uh, if during Critical Role, suddenly it's all like, oh, yep, nope, final level, final boss. Hope you weren't expecting us at level 5 and hope we just don't TPK right here.
That basically did almost happen at one point, though. When they first found the Sphere of Annihilation and Keyleth poked it, if she
Yeah.
failed that strength roll, she would have been pulled in front of Vecna.
True.
Also, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the first season of Critical Role. Sorry.
If any of you out there are watching this rookie ass D&D podcast and have no idea what Critical Role is, either this is like significantly in the future and D&D has become so wildly popular that even Mondays will come to the most random show and just watch it in full, or there is I don't know what the second option is, but I'm concerned by it.
But yeah, D&D is awesome. Consume more of it.
Also consume Tales of Zadia, cough cough nudge nudge.
Consume tabletop RPGs. Just don't actually eat the dice. I don't recommend that.
Please, dice goblin is not a literal thing. Do not eat dice in order to become goblins. But back onto that Tales of Zadia thing. There's a significant amount of detail that goes into each role that makes it really really interesting because you can specify your character to a stupid degree and it's amazing, but there's so many dice, so many ways that you can move the points up and down, and it just so much. I'm having a difficulty learning it, but I will learn it.
You got this.
Unlike D&D at this point that I can pretty much just run it in my sleep if I needed to. Because having a new...
It just takes familiarity.
Yeah. I've been watching D&D shows and being helped with D&D since 2015 from friends who've been playing it far longer. Oh, Zaldan's back.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Uh,
I'm still cooking, but we can go ahead.
Okay.
all right.
Welcome back. Um, so, uh, Leanna, as
Mhm.
you have finished your performance, you hear the applause, and you see approaching the figure of a uh, tannish skinned, yellow eyed, green haired tiefling girl.
Hello.
Hi. Uh, that was a really fun performance you put on.
Thank you. Um, if you don't mind me let me introduce myself. I am Leanna Monole, and she will do her usual uh, ostentatious bow.
Uh, and you see Soleil just kind of and she awkwardly tries to reciprocate said bow with far less grace. Hi, my name is Soleil. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Soleil. Estelle's been looking for you.
I've heard, uh, it's, it's been, it's been a while. uh, just, don't want to make it too abrupt, reunion.
She very much would like to see you.
I understand. It's just, I had a few things. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Surprise. Surprise for what?
Well, I mean, it's been, what, now 2 years since I last saw her? It's, it's different living without your best friend for a while, so I thought when I saw her and you all arrive, I should probably put some stuff together in order to make it a big party when we finally meet again.
Insight check.
Okie dokie, insight check. Oh no, why'd I close Leanna's character sheet? Crap. Give me a second.
No worries.
Okay. Insight check. That's a natural one.
Of course.
Oh,
She's
Mm,
still not trusting, but willing to listen.
yeah, there's. It's an odd sense. You're trying to judge what was to you a few hours ago a corpse. So, this is still weird.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've been working to cobble together a few different of Estelle's favorite foods. Um, they're kind of hard because it's, you know, a little bit difficult to get outside of Shirok Natal, especially recently with, the whole situation with Laurel. And thank goodness we were able to, well, Estelle was able to save her. I don't know what this place would be without her and Laurel being gone. With her and Laurel being gone.
Still suspicious if that's all right. She would like to insight that line specifically.
Okay, I am going to give this disadvantage.
Yep.
That's an 8. There's. Again, there's not really much to glean off of her statement. It's just. You don't know this person very well, so you don't know the mannerisms in which, a lie would be told or discomfort would be told. This place is filled with an eclectic bunch of people.
And despite being used to eclectic people with everything that's going on, despite her suspicions, Leanna's not sure what to look for.
So I remember seeing you and I wanted to say hi. So it's not like, because we wanted it to be, a big surprise. So we'd all yell out, surprise. And then I didn't want, her friends who don't know us to all of a sudden go, ah, and then attack us. So thought I would introduce myself and just ask you to keep it hush hush.
I can do that. Deliberately not mentioning that she was about to, but then not mentioning that. Not just friend, family.
You didn't mention that, or you did?
Did not.
Did not. Okay. She kind of just looks at the ground and kicks a rock awkwardly. So are you do you do this for a living?
Yes, actually. My entire family is a family of performers.
Oh, they all do what you do?
No, we each do different things.
What do they do?
Dad's a strong man, mom invents stuff, younger sister tells stories, and older sister does more throwing tricks.
Your mom invents stuff. Is she a carpenter? Does she build things?
She less a carpenter, more of a tinkerer. She makes gizmos and gadgets, just various cool little things.
She kind of stops when you say that. That. Why does that feel so familiar? Must be my imagination.
Could be, could be.
But wow. I'm glad Estelle found some really cool friends out there. I was worried about her and, all the things that can happen to someone when they leave. So I'm glad to see that she's safe and she's around people that will keep her safe.
I will definitely do my best to keep him safe.
Well, it was nice talking to you. And she attempts the curtsy for a brief second and then stands back up and just kind of extends her hand.
Leanna will shake the hand with a smile and just go, I've had a lot of practice with that. It's not a normal movement.
Well, maybe while you're here you can give me a few pointers after the party.
If you want, yeah.
She kind of just nods her head a little bit and looks around and just picks a cardinal direction and walks in it. A pretty awkward individual.
Yes.
So, after she is now left and you are kind of mixing with a lot of the audience that was watching you, and it's a fairly calm environment around you, as people are just talking, a hum of a crowd. The reminder of a more natural place for Leanna, as the hum of people is the prevailing sound around. What do you wish to do?
Got my practice in. Ran into the person that Estelle has been desperately searching for, who we found as a corpse, but wasn't really them. Can't read them. Probably go find Estelle and let her know that she ran into Soleil.
Okay. I am going to ask Zalden a question.
Okay.
I want you to be honest with me. Would Estelle have told Leanna where she was going? Not what she
Oh
was
yeah.
doing, where she was specifically going.
Oh yeah. Uh she definitely would have said that she is gonna do some research into stars and stuff. Uh she definitely would have said where she would be.
Okay. Ah. Hmm. Welcome to the time warp, fellas. Ah. So, Leanna, as you walk over, and it's a little bit of a walk, but you eventually get to this cylindrically shaped room. You do find yourself before it, and before the entrance. Um, how how are you getting in? As before you, there is an entrance fairly typical to the rooms before, but it looks somewhat different. As the section where the door shape would be is a little bit more obscured, and where there would normally be like some sort of crease to indicate where the door and the wall would meet, it's kind of melded together softly, or at least it appears to be.
Uh, Investigate, see if she can find a seam, and if there's a lock, try and pick it.
Okie dokie. Well, I can tell you this just from the glance, there is not a lock on this shrubbery. Okay.
Not a normal
Guidance.
one, at any rate. Yes.
That is a 12. Looking over it, I mean, the shrubbery itself doesn't have a seam like a door would. It just kind of melds together like foliage. But you can see the top crease where it would be. It's a top one, a right one, but no left where the doorknob would typically be on a typical door.
She is going to look for a mechanism to open this.
Okay. I'm going to put this at disadvantage. Do you want a guidance?
Yes.
Okay. Doo-doo-doo. That is an 8. This place, as you have seen it so far, is not really a place of mechanical structure. There doesn't really seem to be anything that would be part of a pulley system or a lever or anything that would use cogs and wheels in order to get churning. It just feels like a naturally tall piece of vegetation and foliage.
Well, probably not going to figure this out on my own. Let's go ask Laurel. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So you head over again, a bit of a distance. So you head on over and meet Laurel, who is still in her abode. Seems like she's stewing something up in a pot above a makeshift fire inside of her abode, and you see that the smoke that is rising out of it is a very clear, it almost appears like steam, despite the fact that it is distinctly smoke. And as it rises, it seems to go completely out of the top of the roof of her place, and you might even assume that it would continue rising out of Shuruk-Natau itself. And she just turns over to you and says, "Oh, how's everything going? Did you guys find anything out?"
A few things. Estelle's still looking up stuff. That's actually what I wanted to ask about. She said that she was doing research, and I can't get into where she is. How would I go about doing that?
If she's in the sanctuary, then I would assume that, yeah, if she's in there, then there's kind of a, how do I put this, a pass that one must have as a part of Shuruk-Natau that allows you to enter, as we wouldn't want someone who, if they were able to sneak in and access a place like that. So we basically, an individual of the family must be the one to enter that area.
Explains why I couldn't find a door.
Yeah, I mean, you are certainly welcome here. You're definitely always welcomed as my guest, but the people who are permitted as family or as part of the circle is more of a show Ruck, Nat, and Ow's decision.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is druidic in nature.
I mean, she kind of chuckles to herself. I will withhold myself from pointing out the pun, but yes, indeed. It's odd. We do welcome those that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you are family. Beyond a technicality. But there's still some of those old traditions that we, I guess, still haven't learned to adapt from.
So someone like Mom wouldn't be able to get in if she were still here because she doesn't have the correct magic?
I mean, your mother would be able... Well, I don't... See, there's been changes that have occurred that we've noticed, like the waterfall there instead of the observatory, but I wouldn't count myself confident in believing that I am aware of all of the changes that have occurred in the entirety of Shuruk-Natau. For all I know, they could have specifically banned her because of Show and his problem.
His declaration that everything that he doesn't see as nature magic is non-natural and shouldn't be.
It's. I wish I could be more upfront. Uh, I I always thought when I would become a mother, I'd be the old wise woman that would be able to dispense with all of the metaphors that people would ruminate on. But I realize I'm just as much a a gibbering lost one of the woods as everyone else is. Uh,
Small secret that I learned from my uncle Bartholomew. A lot of those old wise sayings that are said don't actually mean anything. They're just used to make you think about the problems themselves. So you solve it yourself, and then you attribute the wisdom to the wise person you're speaking to.
your uncle sounds very wise himself.
He is, and very eccentric. I fear what would happen if he met Moss.
You just the camera zooms out and the planet explodes.
It would be entertaining chaos, but very much chaos.
But Show, I find myself in a position thinking that there's when it comes to the distinction of natural and unnatural, I think that there's a line there that is purely of the mind. Because to exist outside of nature is to not exist at all. Because nature is all.
Yes,
So,
and natural things can be dangerous too. And he keeps saying that everything not natural is dangerous.
when you commune with nature as we do and understanding it, that understanding creates comfort and creates knowledge and resources to understand and information to disseminate to others. But when something comes along that is mysterious and confusing or conflicting, it can and has created fear.
Instead of being afraid of what you don't understand, you should try and learn more about it and add it to your worldview, not just shun it.
I don't disagree, but it's hard for me to. Show has, along with Rucknat and Ow, the entirety of our home to look after. And even the most minor of incidents are purely staged on their shoulders. And
Maybe they should delegate more.
do you know of the Juridic passage of the great oak tree?
Not that one in specific, but I've heard stories.
When a druid reaches a certain point in their training, and well, I don't like to use the word training, in their spiritual journey, they come across, for some, what appears to be a great oak tree. One taller than the sky and wider than the lands. a symbol of strength, a symbol of stability, but a symbol of lasting. And when a druid is practiced and along far enough on their journey, they become one with that tree. And they become as strong and as lasting as that tree. That is why Sho, Ruck, Nat, and Owl are as they are. Because unlike those that might not make it as far as they do in their journey, they are here to see this generation, the next, and 50, 100 generations down in order to impart their wisdom as much as they can.
Maybe they should be more like the willow and flexible and bend with change, as opposed to something that will either stand firm or break.
Are you sure you're not a druid?
No, but I was raised by my mother, who is, you know her.
Always one for always one for the shit, I'm spacing on the word. Always ones to challenge.
Yes. Never
But-
one to sit with the status quo.
But at the moment it appears that Estelle will be headfirst in her studies for the first time in her life. So I could only suggest either waiting or if perhaps you could find one of the other archdruids besides Sho, and maybe they would let you in.
I don't want to bother them, and if I run into Sho, I don't want to deal with him.
That is fair. That is very fair.
I see that you're cooking something. I've helped Mom in the kitchen a time or two. If you could use an extra pair of hands, I'd be more than happy to.
Oh, I would love your help. And you begin helping Laurel with cooking, and she shares the meal with you, and the day goes on, and a few hours pass, and then it starts to feel like it gets to night. Will Leanna rest for the evening?
Well, she knows where Estelle is and can't get in, and not being rested is not going to help things. So, yeah, she
Okay.
will rest and do her best to not have nightmares about the giant eye she was floating in.
Rest finds you, and you are awoken the next day peacefully. No bird jukebox this time. Neither Passeth nor Estelle waking up alongside you.
Oh boy. Hope they actually get some rest at some point. It's gonna be of no use to anyone if they're falling asleep on their feet when things are happening.
And as you wake back up, Estelle!
Gonna be no help if we fall asleep on our feet while something's happening. Meanwhile, Estelle fell asleep on her feet while something was happening.
She was kind of face down after, a couple hours and just fell sleeping. The dirt is kind of moving ever so subtly as her mouth is breathing out air. And you yourself awaken, still very tired, but at least not as tired as you were before.
That is that is very weird how that happened. Very concerned. Definitely going to keep that in mind. And is it yeah, she's just kind of orienting herself. It's like, wait, I fell asleep on the ground. Oh wait, it's morning. Oh shoot, I didn't go home. Oh no, they're worried and going to do her best to get up and then just rush back because one, news, two, uh, the worry that may or may not be happening right now.
Did you not want to look for the information on the maestro?
Hmm. She does, but right now, with how tired she feels, it's not going to be the best work. She's probably going to miss things or not comprehend exactly or something wrong with that because she feels very tired, very unnaturally tired for her to just suddenly fall asleep like that. So she's going to leave, let people know that she's okay, just really tired, and say what her plans will be in the near future once, getting some quality rest.
Okay. You hurry back to Laurel's place, moving as fast as you can. Just waking up and still being tired. You kind of have a fast moving zombie look a little bit to you. But eventually you do get back to Laurel's place, and heading in there, you see a wide awake Laurel and a wide awake Leanna. Leanna, it's been 3 days.
Leanna's
What?
going to be looking at Estelle, very concerned. It, uh, are you okay?
I, yeah, I mean, I know sorry, I just, I don't know why, but I just got really tired when I was studying yesterday and just
Yesterday, it's
pat,
been 3 days.
wait, what, 3?
3 days. The first night, I was like, oh, she's probably caught up in something. Second was when I really started getting worried, and if you didn't come back today, I was going to go look for one of the archdruids to let me in to find you, even if it was show.
Yeah, she is very concerned at that. That is just eh, okay. But how is it 3 days? I just read one book that probably wasn't normal because it was a book, an actual leather-bound book that is very not normal around here. Probably should have had some red flags about that.
Uh,
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 ex
al- Also, you're going to want to hear this, but I ran into Soleil.
what?
Yeah, that's the the first day, and when I was practicing, she came up to me afterwards.
He looks simultaneously happy and relieved, but also furious.
She said something about wanting there to be a surprise. It didn't feel right, but everything, I couldn't read her all that well.
Oh, if I weren't so happy that she's alright, I would kill her myself. Ugh. Okay.
Leanna's going to walk over, put her hands on Estelle's shoulders. You look exhausted.
I
Sleep,
feel exhausted.
sleep, and then tell us what you found.
Oh, okay, just yeah. All right, I'll do that.
As you guys
And
are
she's just gonna. Ooh, sorry, gone.
as you guys are talking and you agree to just relax, all of a sudden you hear "Thud, thud, 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 thud," and you see coming through the quote unquote doorway of Laurel's place, you see Boxbot. And it has a note on it.
Oh,
Leanna
okay.
will go retrieve the note.
Unfolding the note, in common, it says, still working on developing an anti venom. Interesting findings, but I'm okay. Should be a couple more days at most. Passeth.
Leanna will exhale and then read the note to Estelle and turn to Laurel. Do you have a quill and ink?
Let's see. Yep, I got some here.
Thank you. Uh, Leanna will accept it if it's offered and then write a note back to Passive. Found Soleil. Things are a little weird. Estelle found some information. We'll fill you in when you're here. Good luck with the anti venom and stay safe. And then she will attach the note to Boxbot and hope that it goes back to Passa.
You put the note on Boxbot, and it just kind of adjusts to the minuscule weight that the note adds, and then raises up and stomp, 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 leaves.
There's something that's not the weirdest thing that's happened in the past couple days.
No, it's really not. It really isn't. Well, uh, I'm going to do my best to rest and hopefully find, like, tell you what I found and just. Why am I narrating? I'm gonna just go sleep, and Estelle's
Narrating
gonna.
because you're exhausted. Go to bed.
Yeah, yeah. Estelle's gonna go and go to her room, just crash for however long necessary.
Technically, by the rules of D&D, you cannot take simultaneous long rests. You basically have to be up for a period of time before you take a rest. But I find that rule to be dumb. So, uh, you can, if you want, take another 8 hour rest and get up and do some stuff with 1 point of exhaustion, or you can pass out for the full 16.
Uh, hmm. This is a harder decision than it should be.
If
So
she still looked
I'll
tired, Liana would send her back to bed.
yeah it would it would probably like knowing Estelle, she'd probably be like, all right, I feel better, and then uh not not entirely realizing better is not full, just all right, feel good, back up, go out. So just taking the 1 8-hour rest.
Okie doke. Uh, is there anything that you wanted to do, Leanna, or were you just gonna stick with Laurel for the day?
Just gonna stick with Laurel for the day.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, yeah, she has just funny stories. Leanna's first steps. The first time Leanna lost a tooth because she
Do
tried
you mean
to.
Excel?
Oh, God, yes. Jesus. I have two player characters here, and I mix them up. Ah, okay. First time Estelle lost a tooth. Uh, Trying to hunt via fishing with her mouth. Uh, and, just tidbits about her previous life before she went out on her journey. And about. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say Leanna will tell stories about her mom and dad and sisters.
Laurel is wrapped with attention, asking questions back to you about, you know, what your sisters are like, what your parents are like, and uh, she seems grateful to have your company around. Uh,
Leanna, Leanna's just enjoying herself, swapping stories. Exactly what she does with family.
about 8 hours later, you see uh, Estelle kind of trudge herself back out.
But, got a bit more rest. Well, a bit. It's been hours, but better now. Good to go.
You're certain that you're good to go.
Good enough. Yeah, you said yourself it's been 3 days that I've just wasted, and I don't want to waste any more time.
If you spent 3 days straight researching, I don't think that's time wasted.
Here, no, it wasn't 3 days researching. I only read one book for less than an hour. It is whatever it was not normal, to say the least.
Leanna's going to blink confusedly at that. All right, what did you find out then?
So, you remember how Show made a point of the stars disappearing? Like, he sarcastically made a point of how, oh, it must be a natural thing then why haven't we had any record of it?
I remember that, yeah.
The the book that I found had record of it, and she'll pull out the book. I found this in the sanctuary. I found this. It's an actual book. We don't use books. This is very much not something standard. And I I read this
One
for a half hour. I whatever this is, whatever I was reading affected me, and I think for those 3 days I might have just been recovering from
That's terrifying.
it. It very much is.
And if that was in the sanctuary, makes me think that Sho was once again talking out of his ass.
Yeah, well, I don't think he even knew this existed.
Control freak like him? Surprising.
He, who, I assume from the first time reading it, there was no indication of who could have written it, no signature, name, initials, anything.
Nope, no signature, no name, no initials, and the handwriting isn't distinctive enough to place anyone.
All right. Who, whoever wrote this, it started out as just normal, well, normal. It's very, uh, it's like a poetic analogy for the study of the stars, but it later on it actually mentioned that the stars would disappear in the order they disappeared in, the same order as when I noticed that they were disappearing. It it was almost like it was predictive. It wasn't an observation. It was saying this would happen on this day, and after it disappeared, things would happen. And the writings get more, more, I guess, erratic as they start to go on. Towards the end, it just was scribblings, and the very last thing in the book was very clearly written, and it was almost like a diary entry. It was it basically, what was it?
I can reread it for you if you want.
No, I have it written down. Is just character wanting to remember, but also not wanting to open the book and read it directly.
Hmm.
But thank you for the offer.
No problem.
It said that today was the first day of the rest of my life. That that day was when they would become who they're meant to be. You mentioned something about instead of looking up to be beside someone, and that a resplendent promise will be made. I I very much do not like this. It's very good information, but I do not like it. And if it made me pass out for 3 whole days afterward, I do not like what this could possibly mean.
Can't be anything good.
But we know that it exists. I took some secondhand notes on the things. I don't think that would cause anything. I hope not. But
That would be even scarier.
yeah. Oh, why did I say that? But
Because you're family and that's what we do.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's what my time was like. Sorry for causing you all so much panic and worry.
It's okay, you're here now. And you're safe, and we know this.
Okay, so I had planned on doing a bit more research to see if there's anything about like folk tales or anything with stories matching a description of Man Maestro, thinking that it could give like some information, but I don't know if I want to anymore.
Not right away, anyways. Wait until we're not in the middle of something else, I guess.
Yeah, but earlier you said that uh that Soleil was working on some surprise for me or
Yes.
something.
She specifically said not to tell you, but everything felt so weird, I'm telling you.
That's understandable. That's fair. But you know that that would explain why Luan was acting so weird the other day.
Is that
Maybe,
something that they would do?
well, whenever Soleil and I got into any kind of trouble and he tried to cover for us, he lies just as badly as he did then, and it was more or less the exact same feeling that I got. So it's possible.
You'd think that your friends would want to see you and not hide from you. Yes, I understand the concept of a surprise party, but especially with everything that's been going on,
Yeah, I'm just I'm just being hopeful, I guess. I just don't want to doubt them. I hate that I feel like I have to.
what was also a little weird was that she said that she saw us at the when we came in initially, and I remember saying that you were family, but she only said that we were friends.
Okay, yeah, that's also very concerning because you did say multiple times, but and that was definitely something Sho got hung up on. But and I remember seeing her there. Oh, oh, why? Okay, so Oh, okay. So, one thing at a time. What do we want to do immediately next?
See if we can figure out what's going on here.
Okay. So, which thing here do we want to figure out first? With them? With everything that might be going on? With the book?
I'm concerned about who would fake killing Soleil and then putting that killing that Loxodon.
Yeah, I am too. That's a good starting point.
And that one will likely lead to other things as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what exactly do you we should um what exactly do you think we should go ahead and do next? Because I'm apparently I've been out for days, so I'm not sure what things will be happening.
I'm not entirely certain either. I didn't really leave here too much. I was spending time with Laurel.
Estelle looks like just like a look of like mild panic at that, just like, oh no, what stories? Oh no. Well, okay, so how about okay, so should we try to find one or both of them? You after a few days, I assume the surprise, whatever it is prepared. So even if it isn't what we hope it is, then at least we're prepared and we know it's happening.
Recall, they're your friends. I don't know them very well, if at all.
Yeah, I hope they are. So let's do that first. I don't like doubting them. I hate this feeling. So let's just get this out of the way, if it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no problem.
All right, so let's go out and try to see if we can find them somewhere.
Okay. Uh, what are. Hmm. Are you just going around and looking around for them, or are you doing anything specific in order to locate them?
Uh, it it kind of worked the first time. Uh, so she's going to do the same thing that she and Moss had done when they were looking for Soleil the first time to wild shape into a dog and try to sniff out uh one of the two.
Which one?
Hmm. Mm, she is going to search for Soleil first. She, even though Luan, she'll have to talk to Luan. She's already got confirmation that he's okay, and technically she has confirmation that Soleil is all right as well, but she wants to see her again.
Okay, roll me a perception check with advantage because you are a dog.
Right? I also have disadvantage because of the exhaustion level, so I'll just roll a straight roll.
Thank you for remembering that.
You are welcome. A 16.
Okay. As you shift into the dog form, there's still that sense of just, oh, kind of tired, waking up without the coffee feeling. And there, ooh, boy, howdy. I think, actually, at the moment, guys, I know this is a little bit early, but remember that storm I told you that was rolling in?
It's rolling
Oh.
in.
Yeah, it's rolling in pretty good.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry for ending it a little bit short this week, but
No
we will pick
worries.
back up with that perception check and looking for Luan and, well, Soleil specifically.
It's also a pretty natural stopping point.
Yep. So
Feels good to me.
thank you guys so much for being my players today,
Thank you so much for running.
Indeed.
and thank you all for watching. And we will see you next time. Take care of yourselves.
See y'all
Have a
next
good one.
week.